Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are. I'm Nick Endacott Gibb. Thanks for tuning in to Tiny Festival TV, the weekly show that brings you live performances selected from the video vaults of Tiny Festival Sessions, a once-a-month pop-up show I run at the Garden Bar in Hove. I book the best emerging and established artists I can find, locally and around the South Coast, and it's all for the love of keeping music live. Real music, real passion. That's what it's all about. I'll be featuring over the coming weeks interviews with some of the artists and also some unplugged live sessions here on Tiny Festival TV as well. In this week's show, I'll be doing just that with the very lovely and very talented Amie Lou Shaw. So stick around for her. Before that, my first choice this week is for the incredible Tombstone Pete. He had everyone in stitches with his observational humour and entertained us all with his incredible guitar techniques. This is the amazing Tombstone Pete.
And we're off. evening.
Wow, and he's such a nice guy. He came down from London out of the goodness of his own heart to play for us, which we so appreciate, Pete, we really do. My next choice is the all-round, very creative local talent, Miguel Cosme, who's been busy gigging through the years with the brilliant RPMs and more recently, Lemon Wax. This is Miguel Cosme.
Woke up this morning to the sound of the rain, with something on my mind. I had a dream about you that I wish I could still be in. Want to rewind. Strange is the feeling I get, 'cause all the rest I forget. But if it's true, I think I would wanna find you. Would you lay me down beside you if it's true? If this love is true. 'Cause today was yesterday, but tomorrow never goes away. And all the tears have dried. I found an old letter that you once wrote to me. You used to be so kind. Strange is the feeling I get, 'cause there's so much I still regret. And if it's true, I think I would wanna find you. Would you lay me down beside you if it's true? If this love is true, I think I would wanna find you. Would you lay me down beside you if it's true? If this love is true.
Ah, great musician. I spotted him on a number of occasions at some of my own gigs, which always made me smile. Such a great guy. Well, I'll be back in part 2, where I'll be chatting to the very talented songwriter and musician, Amie Lou Shaw. So don't go anywhere. Grab a drink, grab a sandwich, grab a friend, whatever you like. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Tiny Festival TV. This week I had a great chat with the lovely Amie Lou Shaw at the Garden Bar in Hove, who's not only been coached by members of Eternal and Basement Jaxx, but also had one of her songs featured on Hollyoaks. Well, hello everybody. I'm here at the Garden Bar with the lovely, amazing, very talented Amie Lou Shaw.
Thank you very much.
Hello Amie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, I'm good.
Thanks for coming. Tell me a little bit about what you've been up to. You've been gigging quite a lot. You played here recently for Tiny Festival Sessions, which was great.
Yeah.
A great night. Thoroughly enjoyed that. So what else have you been up to lately?
So, well, I've been doing a lot of rehearsing. I've got a band and I'm also in a duo at the moment as well. A lot of rehearsing and just kind of basically a lot of interviews and things as well.
Quite busy then.
Writing a couple of new songs. and writing a charity track as well at the moment, which is really exciting. So yeah.
You've been at this for quite a while, haven't you? And worked with some amazing people. Coached by someone. Who's it from? Someone from Eternal.
Kelly Bryan, Kelly Bryan.
And Basement Jacks.
Yeah, that's right. So, so a long time back when I was working for Rhythmics, basically.
You were working for Eurythmics?
For Rhythmics.
I was going to say.
It was, no, not Eurythmics.
What? You've done that as well? Amazing.
It was Rhythmics, which is a music charity.
Okay.
And basically, I was kind of like going into youth clubs and sort of. Basically helping the kids to kind of do music, express themselves through music and things like that, which is something I'm really passionate about. Really enjoyed that, and I used to put on performances for them and things like that. But as part of that, basically one of the ladies that ran Rhythmics, she bumped into not Kelly Bryan, sorry.
From Basement Jacks.
From Basement Jacks, yes. Elliot May.
Oh, okay.
Elliot May. Yeah. And anyway, so basically she ended up doing a workshop for us, and it was a vocal workshop, and so she was going through all sorts with that, and she said to me, she said, look, does anyone know how to do melismas, right? And I was like, I know how to do a melisma, I said. Anyway, so I did a couple of those, and she was like, oh, brilliant. She said, I'm going to get you to show everybody how to do this, and so sort of broke down, what to do with a melisma and kind of like how to sort of start it, and and sort of how to sort of speed it up and just sort of show people how to do them and stuff, So, but yeah. So she came in to do that, and she said to me, if you ever do an album, she said, I want a copy of it, so.
But things then led to then being coached by these people and being connected, networking with them.
Yes.
Did that help then with your own sort of ideas and own projects of what you wanted to do after that?
Yes, I mean with Kelly Bryan, she taught me vocal microphone technique.
Right. Okay,
so she basically kind of said, look, she said, I want you to walk in, she said, through the door, and she said, I want you to be really confident, grab the mic, she said, and you're going to take it off the stand, and you're going to look as if you're owning this performance.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember the first time I did this, it was like, okay, that didn't work out. So it was like, snap, take two. So I walked back in anyway, and I was like, I was quite determined this time, and I grabbed the mic and I was like, yes, I'm going to own this performance kind of thing. And ever since then, it was literally like, I realised I had to be like that as a performer.
How then did that then lead to your own stuff? So you had a song then featured on Hollyoaks, didn't you? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I approached Notting Hill Music. It was actually my brother-in-law who suggested them to me, and he said to me, look, why don't you try approaching them at Notting Hill Music? So I spoke to John Saunderson, who runs that. Yeah. And I said, look, I've got a couple of songs, would you have a listen to them, see what you think of them? And he listened to Simple Things, and he went, that track has got something.
Beautiful track, by the way, I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic song.
Thank you. Well, I was very lucky. I'll tell you the story on that one another time. But yeah, but he said, look, really love this. He said, I'm going to put it to the sync people. Synchronized people, just to be clear, for the interview. And he said, look, we'll see if we can sync it to something. He said, we've got links to Hollyoaks, and we think that maybe, might be able to get that on there. Brilliant. So next I knew it, I had no idea this was even going to take place until, of course, I was watching Hollyoaks. And I hear my song.
There it is. Yeah.
There's my song playing in the background. It was in a bar scene, actually. Yeah. And it was just so bizarre. It was so surreal, I mean, this show that I've been watching for years and years, and I was just like, wow, and suddenly I'm hearing my song on it.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a very surreal moment, absolutely.
Did that get you any more connections, or anything come from that?
Well, they were very interested in my songs and stuff, so I've pitched a few more to them. But as of yet, nothing's gone further with that. But yeah, you know, I'm looking
It's all
to
about
pitch more
just
and-
getting things as much out there as possible, isn't it, really, and networking
Yeah.
as much as you can.
Well, that's it. You never know what's going to take off as well. I mean, you know, I think a lot of the time, you know, you've got there's so many people in the music industry trying to kind of like get somewhere with it and trying to
Yeah.
kind of, and you know, we're all together. I mean,
Yeah,
I think of us all as a community
Yeah.
in a lot of ways because, and I think that we've almost in a way we've got to bring that community back. You know, where you know we're all kind of working together to help one another as well.
Yeah. You've got a band as well, and what do you find that do you enjoy that more than playing on your own, or do you want to do more of that with a band, or you know, how are you looking ahead, you know, with your stuff?
Interesting question. Yeah, I mean, I love doing the solo stuff, and when I kind of chat to various people I work with, you know, they're like, you know what, you should do solo stuff as well because you know on the piano they're like, you know, they think I'm good at that as well. I think with the band stuff, it's almost like it's nice to think you've got other people in the team, as it were. I love the camaraderie of it.
Yeah,
it's great.
I've always liked that as well. Yeah.
I love that, and I kind of like the fact that you can really build the sound, and that also, and I'm really pleased to also be working with people that are like MDs as well. I've got someone, let's say, on the team who's a bit of an MD. He's really, really good with knowing, you know, how to arrange the music. Now, I know obviously you could say, well, you know, the production of the music is the arrangement, you know, so you could use that, but technically speaking,
Well, it's part and parcel.
it's tricky.
It works. There's lots of elements, isn't there?
There is lots of elements,
Yeah.
as you know, because the thing about that, of course, is that you can't always, you know, have a huge number of players in your band, and if you've got lots of elements in your recorded music, then you have to try and be as authentic to that as you possibly can be. But if you can come up with a version that is really nice for like a 4-piece band, for example, and you know you're sort of like thinking about, which is what I'm kind of working on at the moment, which is like, you know, the sort of the sonics, which is where, you know, or just where everything sits. So, you know, kind of like the guitar's sitting here, maybe the piano, perhaps I need to be playing some notes sort of slightly higher up in the piano.
Not too much of the low notes because you've got the bass to consider and things like that.
Exactly.
But live is an interpretation anyway of say you're touring an album.
Yes.
You wouldn't necessarily want to, unless you've got a whole array of session musicians and everything, you know, play it the way that it's and cover everything that you've included on the album. It's an interpretation of the album, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because I heard Clannad in concert.
I love Clannad. I've always liked Clannad,
amazing. They're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think it's the fact that they layer all these sounds, and it's just so interesting. When you listen to the recorded version, though, it's just like, whoa, there's a lot going on there.
Yes.
And you think to yourself, you know, how would you represent that on stage, you know? And of course you can, I suppose you can use the click track and you can kind of like, you know, but you've got to be absolutely tight with that.
A lot of bands do use backing tracks, you know, even... Oh, is that for you?
Well, maybe.
You know, I don't want to keep you from your agents. A lot of bands, even bands that you wouldn't even think are, you know, big bands, you know, you wouldn't think that are using any backing tracks, and you think it's part of the sound of what they're, you know, who's on stage.
Yeah.
But a lot of them aren't, you know, playing it live. There are things going on, even just slight sequences or slight little bits of strings or whatever, which is just underneath. It just gives it the body.
Yes.
And you're not really aware that it's there, but it's just thickening the sound and making it, you know, a bit fuller than otherwise, you know. So it's used quite a lot. So you know, a lot of bands go that way anyway, you know.
Absolutely.
But I did hear that Clannad had a lot of effects.
Oh yes.
A whole, like, you know, I mean, you're going back to, you know, 80s.
It was, yes, it is. It
they
is
had
a kind
big
of a
trolleys of reverbs and
Oh
stuff,
my
you know,
goodness.
which you wouldn't need so much nowadays.
No, that's very true. That's
know.
very true. It is a sort of a possibly an older sound, let's say.
Yeah.
But, you know, bringing it into the modern day, you know, there's still... I mean, that's another conversation in its own right, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but I think that you know, when you think of like the greats in music, I mean, I don't know. You look at some of the kind of the older, you know, the 80s, the 90s artists, and they were amazing. Some of them were absolutely astounding, and you know, like Prince, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, Celine Dion, I'm a massive fan of Celine Dion, you know. I just think she's amazing. But, you know, artists that have reinvented themselves as well. They had that older sound, and then they kind of reinvented themselves.
Would you say you're influenced by some older sounds and that you're then sort of working with other more modern influences?
Yeah.
Because you're quite folk country sort of era, aren't you? Is that how you view what you're doing, or?
Yeah, I think it's very folky country, but there's definitely rock elements in there as well in places. I think, you know, which I really like. I quite like to kind of bring that in. You know, and
of course, the more people you work with and you know that have around you, the more inspired you can be in different ways that you may not have thought. And it all just, everyone inspires everyone else, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting that, because, you know, even in a band, you know, you've got musicians who've got a number of influences, you know, and, you know, it's sort of getting the sound that you're looking for, I think, as well, you know, sort of from that. But equally, it's lovely to let people just do their own thing a little bit, and just let them kind of, you know, be inspired by different ideas. And, you know, and it's like, you know, well, I was working on this, you know, and so it's like, you know, I really want to bring that in. It's like, you know, at the moment, you know, I've been kind of looking at like 13ths and, you know, kind of like 7ths, and, you know, adding all that into my chords, and kind of like, you know, and thinking about how that might, you know, colour the music a bit more, and bring a bit more inspiration in there, and, you know, things like that. I just love that. I love to explore those ideas, and I think that's what keeps it fresh.
It's
for
enjoyment
me.
Anyway, isn't it? You've got to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but it does make me laugh sometimes, because my bass player was like, the other day, was like, found this chord, and I was like, oh, but you could add this note on top of it, and that would be like, boom, you know, it's like gold.
It's amazing, isn't it, what just one little change can do to the feel of something.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's also learning about things like modes in music as well, which is really interesting, because of course you can change the modes as well, which again is bringing a whole new dynamic to that piece of music. And the lovely thing about that is, you know, in a live performance situation, you know, I suppose more people are drawn to come along to your performances, because if you're changing it up all the time and you're kind of like doing something slightly different, and, you know, that can be really interesting for people. You know,
well, so you're going to be playing a song for us today, aren't you?
I am indeed.
What song have you chosen? Is it going to be one of my favourites?
So it's one you haven't heard yet. I don't know if it's one of your favourites. It's all about the media, and, you know, it's called Black and White.
Okay, great.
And so obviously happy to chat with you further about that in another interview.
That's great. Amie, thanks so much for coming. It's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And looking forward to you coming and playing Tiny Festival sessions again soon, I hope.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I'll be back.
That'd be great.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Amie. Thanks a lot. So we'll leave you with Amie Lou Shaw, and this is Black and White.
So hard to find, but you're one of a kind, not fazed by the signs. Doesn't make you blind to see the truth of it all. You know we're treated like fools with our backs to the walls. You never believe all that you read. Well, I'm finding my own way out. Where did we get lost to tell such lies? To live in a world where we don't know the dramatize. Advertising is strange, it feels like some kind of game. Try and reel you in so you can win. But what's the winning about? Some kind of power trip, just their job to deceive. Well, I'm finding my own way out. Where did we get lost to tell such lies? To live in a world where we don't know the truth. Can't believe the words I see printed on the page. Black and white, black and white, black and white. Don't dramatize. Black and white, they say it like it's black and white, oh, black and white, black and white, oh, we say it like it's black and white, oh, black and white, black and white, black and white. Where did we get lost to tell such lies? To live in a world where we don't know the truth. Can't believe the words I see printed on the page. Black and white, black and white, black and white. Don't dramatize. Thank you very much.
Well, that's about it for this week's show. Next week, I'll be featuring another great lineup of artists, including an award-winning British singer-songwriter. I'm Endacott Gibb. This is Tiny Festival TV. See you soon.